Everything you do can be started on the side and fairly cheaply. You don't need to buy $50,000 worth of tents. You don't need to buy a giant box truck to run a plumbing business. You can just do it all very slowly, see how it's going, and then keep reinvesting until the point where it's like, I'm making more money. People aren't tired. So any business you're in, you need to really break down to the core what you're really doing. Because I'm not a party business. You don't want to be the lowest. I've made the mistake being the lowest for a long time. And then you sit down years later and been like, wow, I left thousands of dollars on the table just because I was trying to get business over these guys. I could have been the same price and still got the same amount of business.
Hello, and welcome to HR Connections. Our channel is dedicated to finding success factors of professionals and business owners who are at the top of their game. In today's episode, we have Adam Keller. He is the owner of Dental Rental, a party rental business in New York. We're going to be talking about his success story today. He's going to be telling us a bit about some of the other businesses he has started. And finally, he's going to be sharing insights on how anyone can start a rental business. So stick around, we'll be right back. Hello, welcome back. We have Adam joining us from Central New York. Adam, how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. So, you do have a lot of presence online. A lot of people know about you. I personally am very excited to learn about your story. So I guess we'll just get started.
Right. So, yeah, I was in college and I had a roommate who worked for a party rental company. And they would do jobs at that particular college. So I would sometimes go and help him out. And then I used that experience to get my summer job in my local town at a party rental place. And they hired me on the spot, even though I didn't put up that many tents, but I still had the references. And then that's when I started seeing the invoices. And that was between my third and fourth year of school. So I was seeing the invoices. I was like, wow, this is a lot of money that these people are making. Maybe I'll do this myself. So the last 2 weeks of school, I maxed out some credit cards, cashed in the bonds that my grandparents were buying me because they thought one day you'll be able to buy a house, but they were wrong. But it was still a decent amount of money, like $3,000, and just bought a bunch of stuff. And then I took out ads in the Penny Saver and the local paper, which are just Penny Saver is just like a classifieds thing from back in 2004. And this was before websites were super prevalent. So I just had the website, and not the website, I'm sorry. I just had the Penny Saver and the ad and a phone book ad, just yellow pages back in the day. And that's how I started my business. In my first year, I had just 3 tents and I used my mom's SUV and then just, saved all the money from that. And while I was doing that, I had 2 jobs working 80 hours a week. Just saving all my money so I could buy the next stuff to go under the tents next year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. And I guess for the first few years, you were doing this on the side, right? Because you still had full-time jobs.
Yeah, not awesome jobs. A gas station, clerk, and I was cleaning hotel rooms.
Right, but you were still putting in the hours, right? Yeah. So how many years would you say that you did this basically on the side till you decided to go full-time?
So I basically started in 04, 05, and then 08, the year of the financial crisis, is when I went full-time.
Okay. All right. So year of the financial crisis, and you decided to go full-time on the seasonal business, correct?
Yeah. Well, it started to surpass my normal income because by that time I had gotten an office job, and I don't really like office jobs. But you drink the Kool-Aid. You went to college. It's time to grow up. So I had that office job, but I had started organizing with them a flexible schedule so that I could do the tents and then still work there. And it was a long process. And we finally started getting it going. But then one day I'm out doing tents and I got my friends / employees in the truck with me, and some guy calls and he's like, "Hey, I need your biggest tent." And I say, "I have it available, but I just can't do it because I don't have the time." Everything was timed exactly. So he said, "Yeah, okay." So he hangs up, and then I'm just like screaming, I'm yelling, kind of in a funny way or whatever. It's not like abusive to my employees, but I'm just kind of screaming. And so I just call him back. And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I can do it." And so we set it up. And then the next day I go into work and I say, "Hey, I'm giving my 2 weeks notice, but my 2 weeks notice was 2 weeks ago." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm done." And then they escorted me out.
Okay. All right. And initially, when you had started, right? Obviously, gradually the business picked up, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
So, what would you say that initially you were around I think we had spoken about this before, was around the 80,000 mark, correct? In terms
Yeah.
of sales? Yeah. Okay. And then slowly you grew the business. So, besides party rental, were you looking to do anything in those early years, or was it just tents, chairs, and tables?
Yeah. It was in the early years, it was just tents, tables, and chairs for like small backyard parties. And then my friend, my roommate from college, who I saw this all from, he had left the company he was working with. And because he knew they were a massive company, he knew everything. He knew weddings was where it's at. So he's like, "Yeah, do weddings. You got to do weddings." And he showed me how much he was making doing weddings with big, big tents. And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to do weddings." So at this point, I had a website. I put wedding tents and wedding stuff up on my website, like dance floor and lights and linens. And I didn't own any of it yet, but I started taking bookings for it. And I would take those deposits and put them towards, buying the stuff that I needed for the following year. And I also took out a loan from the credit union at that place that I was working because they had their own credit union.
Okay. So basically, that's when you started basically expanding the business. And which year would you say that, you had a sort of firm understanding what the business was about? You streamlined all your operations in terms of recruiting people, in terms of, storage for the things and other operational stuff, logistics and all that, and marketing and all that. So which year would you say that was? Because I think this is 2008 that you went full time. So how many years did it take you?
Probably about 2 years because I was still working I had bought a house. So I was working out of that garage. And so then I needed a larger space to store things. I needed bigger trucks. So I started renting trucks for the season. And I started to really focus in on equipment to make things go faster because we were pounding steaks, we were carrying chairs. So a lot of this equipment is thousands of dollars to buy. So a lot of people don't want to buy it because they're thinking, "Well, I can just buy another tent." Well, you're not going to get done any faster during the day. It's actually life's going to be more difficult if you spend that money on a jackhammer or super cool carts to move things. Now you're actually getting done sooner.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So, presently, what would you say your business is bringing in every year?
So last year it was right around 640,000. So last year we brought in 640,000. The year before that we brought in 520. And people don't like when you just say that's what you brought in. It's like, "Oh, well, there's expenses and stuff." So if you run your rental business right, as efficient as possible, basically whatever you make, half is profit. Profit does not include, the expenses to buy new stuff. You buy new stuff with profit. So if you run your business right, if you make $1 million, then 500,000 is profit. So whatever it is, it's half basically in this business.
Okay, excellent. And how do you market your services?
So it's not very sexy. So like doing Facebook ads and Instagram ads and TV and radio and billboards is sexy. We are a search-based business. No one out there is going to see a billboard for a tent and be like, oh, I'm going to have a party next week, or see a dance floor and be like, oh, I'm going to, have a dance party next week. No, they think, or they are having a party at a certain date and they know they need things. So they go over to Google and they search party rental company, tent company near me. And then you show up. So for a party rental company, you want to spend all your money on like Google AdWords. You want to spend all your money on search. Don't do Facebook, don't do TV, don't do anything like that. Google AdWords, put all your money into that so that when they search for you, you're there at the top. And that's how this business works. There's I don't know any other way to put it. People search when they need it, and you need to be there when they search.
Got it. So over the years, obviously, you guys have built up a client base who obviously, word of mouth, I'm sure they refer you to a lot of business as well, right? So yeah. So in that, can I say that your company has built a strong brand in your space?
Yeah, I guess I don't really like the word brand. Like some plumbing company thinks they have a brand, and they're like, oh yeah, this customer thinks of my brand that way. Customer doesn't even care. Like, they need the thing, and then when you're gone, they don't think about you. They just, I guess they know that you're reliable. I guess that's your brand. But I don't work to build a brand. I just do the work. I do it good, and that's it. So I wouldn't say like there's a conscience brand for my company in the community, but then again, I kind of contradicted myself. I guess if you do good work, that's your brand.
Right. I think what you wanted to say is that what it is with clients is more transactional, right? As you said, they need the thing, you supply the thing. Once it's done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. How should a potential client evaluate event rental company, in your opinion?
They should visit the warehouse. Really, it's hard to evaluate a rental company when you look at the website, because a lot of those pictures are just, stock manufacturer pictures. They should definitely visit the warehouse. Don't give too much credence to Google and Facebook reviews, because people only go on there when like they feel something wrong has happened. Any rental company will have 1,000 good customers who don't review anything, and then you'll get like 2 bad reviews. You really want to just visit the warehouse.
Okay. And how do you set prices?
So the rule kind of in the rental industry is whatever the price is, make it back in 10 rentals. So if the thing was $1,000, you divide it by 10, should be 100. That's not always the case, but it's kind of close. But the biggest factor is your market. Some markets may get $4,000 for the same tent that another market may only get $2,000. And you just got to keep pushing that envelope. You don't want to be the lowest. I've made the mistake being the lowest for a long time. And then you sit down years later and been like, wow, I left thousands of dollars on the table just because I was trying to get business over these guys. I could have been the same price and still got the same amount of business. But pricing, that was a long-winded answer, but pricing is usually divided by 10.
Okay, excellent. That is very good information. The next thing that I just wanted to circle back on the review part that you had mentioned is that what policies do you have in place to handle client complaints?
Well, they call the office, and then the office manager can either be the office manager or he can be the owner. He can pretend to be the owner depending on the situation, and he can handle them. We don't really get very many complaints. The one complaint we get sometimes is the chairs are dirty. That's because we got thousands of chairs and it takes 6 people 40 hours each a week to clean the chairs. So most rental companies are just like, all right, we clean them if we see them that were dirty. And then if we miss them, they get sent out. Someone calls and we just say, all right, we'll give you the chairs half off. That's a lot cheaper than 6 guys, 40 hours every week trying to clean chairs. So customer complaints, they call and we try to give a discount or whatever, or fix the situation. Like if this morning I put up a tent for a Harley Davidson dealership and it was been in a bag all year long and all winter long. And if it went away slightly wet, it comes out with a little bit of mildew on it. Well, we put it up and I'm just thinking, okay, the band's going to see this. No one else is going to see this. Well, the owner of the Harley Davidson dealership, first time he ever went to look at the tent, and he was upset. So we had to go clean it. And they were fine. They're not going to like drop us as a client. We cleaned it. So customer complaints, discounts or address it.
Okay, perfect. So you have B2B clients and you also have B2C clients, correct?
Yeah.
What would you say the percentages are?
30% B2B, 70 just a regular customer.
Okay, all right. And the other thing which I wanted to know was that it's because it's a seasonal business. During your peak season, how many people do you employ?
About 10 during the big times.
Okay. So how do you hire them? Are there particular traits that you look out for? How do you manage their performance? Basically, all the HR stuff.
So I've lucked out. There's a lot of rental companies I talk to, they just can't find people. I started with my friends, then their younger brothers, then those younger brothers, their friends, and then friends of literally everyone has been friends of friends. So it's someone that I trust referring someone because they know what the work is and they know how people are. So then they refer them. And that's always worked out. We've done Facebook recruiting before. And I even put this thing in there that said at the end, like, do not respond to this ad. Call this number. If you can't read and understand things, we don't want you. And anyone who responded to the ad, I just didn't. I had a few people call, but they came in, but they were just bums. So I've lucked out in hiring. As far as like keeping people on, keeping them happy, well, we make fun of each other all day long. There's a lot of driving between jobs. So you're just in the truck talking. And we talk about ridiculously inappropriate things and we make inappropriate jokes to each other. And we just kind of have fun. We kind of make things, into a competition sometimes. I buy them lunch. I give bonuses around Christmas time, and bonuses are based on how valuable you were to me. So everyone who's worked for me always says it's the best job they ever had. And then they go get a normal job and it's, it's not the same.
Sounds like a fun workplace for sure. Okay. So who would you suggest this business is ideal for? If someone is thinking about it, right? Who would you say this business is going to be good for?
Anyone. The rental business is good for anyone. I know women in it. I know tiny, short people who can't reach the top of the tent do it. I say rental business in particular because there are so many things in the rental business. You could just rent out throne chairs for the bride and groom. You could rent out bounce houses. You could rent out popcorn machines. You can rent out the big giant tents. You could just rent out restroom trailers where you just go drop off a luxury restroom trailer and then pick it up. There's no hard manual labor there. Anyone can get into the rental game, and it's owning something and then renting it out. Just like the classic, you own a house and rent it out. This is now you're just owning a thing and renting it out.
Okay. So, for example, if someone wanted to start by just, buying 2-3 tents, and they could basically start just renting that out, right?
Yeah. My first year was no tables, no chairs, only tents.
Only tents.
Yep. And if someone really wanted to start and they had no money, they could go get pallets and paint them up into signs. They could get, those big wire spools that are wooden that, the electric company has their wire on.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Those are, if you can find those for free, and you've dressed that up with like a burlap cloth cake table for $45. People, I see those all over the place. I don't do it, but people have them, but it's a free wire spool, and you make it look a little nice and rent it out.
Okay, excellent. Very good information. So tell us a bit about some of the other businesses that you are involved with.
Okay, so you know how when someone says that they own like three businesses, but one's a food truck, one's a diner, and one's the ice cream shop attached to the diner, and you only own one business. Really, I don't know, sure on paper. So my other businesses are kind of involved in the rental business. So we have a dish, glassware, flatware business that basically deals with caterers. And then we have a restroom trailer business that is a restroom trailer. It's got real bathrooms inside of it that flush and stuff. And that's kind of separate, but it also works in tandem with it. And then I have a 12,000 square foot Airbnb. It was a barn converted into a house. So it's basically a mansion inside of a barn. And we rent that out to big groups. And then we just started an Airbnb cleaning company where that's just, the guy who cleans our Airbnb, we want him to have more work. So he's going to go work. We're going to charge $40 an hour, pay him somewhere between like 22 to 25. And then we pocket the rest basically. So those are the businesses. And then kind of started this Nerf War jelly ball. Jelly ball is like a little Orby ball that shoots out of a gun. Doesn't hurt as much as a paintball. And we set up bunkers like for paintball bunkers, but now you're just shooting darts or jelly balls for like a kid's backyard party.
Okay, awesome. A lot of similarity in the businesses. Obviously, it's easier to control and manage, I'm sure.
Yeah. So in the party rental business, you're somewhere, say you're a DJ, you're at these weddings every week. Now you see that there's a photo booth person there every week. So you're like, all right, let me try to do that. Then you see, hey, someone's bringing this dance floor every week. So now you get the dance, like there's so many pieces of the pie in the party business that eventually you could literally take it over. You could do the catering, the restroom trailer, the tent, the dance floor, the DJ, you could do everything. So if you want to, I don't want to, but there's so much stuff in the party business that you could just move into.
Okay, awesome. You started a YouTube channel, got good following. You teach people about the business, right? So tell us a bit about that.
I don't know. I just say this all the time. I'm just some douchebag who points a camera at his face and talks. And I'm talking about what I know, which is the party rental business. And I just tell people what I've learned and they can take it or leave it. But a lot of people have started tent companies from my channel. I meet them at the various industry shows. Just talked to one earlier today, and they're all doing great. So I'm improving through me being a douchebag, pointing a camera at my phone and talking. I'm improving some people's lives, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. Excellent. Any kind of advice to people who are kind of on the fence? They want to not just a rental business, just a small business in general. Like a lot of people, they are just a little scared about taking that leap because, maybe they don't like their job, but it's still a steady paycheck, right? So any words of advice?
So everything that you do can be started on the side. Obviously, you need loved ones who are going to be cool with that, which is one of the biggest hurdles. But everything you do can be started on the side and fairly cheaply. You don't need to buy $50,000 worth of tents. You don't need to buy a giant box truck to run a plumbing business. You can just do it all very slowly, see how it's going, and then keep reinvesting until the point where it's like, I'm making more money. Also, if you're thinking about any particular business to get into, there's a Facebook group for any business and everyone is on there for a reason. They don't mind sharing. So if you wanted to be a professional house painter, there's 5 Facebook groups for that. There's literally 10 Facebook groups for my industry. And then there's separate ones broken down for restroom trailer business. If you want to do Airbnb, go join the Airbnb Facebook groups. You learn way more on those Facebook groups than you ever would reading a book.
Okay. Very good advice. Very good advice indeed. So, Adam, if people wanted to find you, where would they look?
So on YouTube, it's called The Tent Guy. On TikTok, it's called Real World Side Hustles. And then I have a channel like yours where I interview other business people. It's called How I Started and real world side hustles.
Okay.
And then I do have one last thing I like to throw in every interview, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so in business, you need to really understand what business you're in. A lot of people would say I'm in the party business because the end result of what I do, there's a big party afterwards. But I'm not in the party business. I'm not even there for the party. Our whole goal is to get it up before, just come take it down after the party. What I really am in is the moving and material handling and logistics business. I have to get stuff from my warehouse onto my truck to the site, off the truck, erect it, and do everything in reverse, and then do it again the next week. So if I focused on like party, like how do we make the party cooler? I'm just losing money. I need to focus on how do I get everything done faster and the most efficiently, which goes back to spending the thousands and thousands of dollars on tools to make life faster. So we can, instead of hammering 64 steaks in, it takes an hour, then we jackhammer them in and it takes 15 minutes. Plus the guys aren't tired. Instead of carrying things, we buy a $5,000 cart with power that goes across the lawn. Now it's faster and people aren't tired. So any business you're in, you need to really break down to the core what you're really doing. Because I'm not a party business. I just move stuff around. And I have one more example of that. I talked to a chiropractor, and you would think, his business is fixing people's backs. And it is. That's what he spends a lot of his day doing. But he only had like 40 people per month, same people. And he's like, how do I grow this? Then he realized his business is not chiropractic, however you say that. It is customer acquisition. So he spends half of his days making educational TikTok, Instagram, Facebook posts about just chiropractic in general. And now he went from 40 people a month to 300-400 people coming in and out a month because he realized the focus that he needs to be on is customer acquisition, not so much the end result chiropractic. Obviously, he needs to be a good chiropractor, though.
Okay, awesome. That's very good advice. Adam, thank you so much for your time today. I'm sure anyone who watches this video, there's so much value here for them to take away. And I personally appreciate it because, as a small business owner myself, a lot of things you've said really resonates with me. And one final thing I will say is that, as you said, that you don't need to go all out when starting a business. You can still do it as a side hustle initially, with like bare bones kind of thing, and then slowly grow it. I really feel that, right? So again, Adam, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate that, and wish you all the best with all your business ventures.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate that. If you like what you saw, then smash the like button. We're going to be posting at least once or twice every week. So if you want to see similar kind of videos, then subscribe to our channel. And finally, if there's a type of professional that you want featured on a future episode, then let us know in the comment box below. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.